boys. Welcome live back here into YouTube on this Wednesday, January 2nd, 2019. I'm Brandon Lewis. Welcome back here to Brandon's World YouTube exclusive. We have a lot to get to today. First off, though, I want to say there's so much information that's been happening over this past month since we've been on hiatus that I needed another person to help me break it down. So, here today we have the co-host of the Andrew Baca Podcast. If you want to go ahead and plug that, you may. Welcome, Andrew Baca.
Thanks for having me, man. And, I've been on your show before. I called in and I promoted my stuff. So, I'm going to return the favor here.
Why, thank you. I appreciate it. We are ready to go. There's so much stuff to get to today, including a very bittersweet moment for you yesterday when it comes to Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that was sad, but if it's for his health, I get it. I know we don't want the guy collapsing on the sidelines, but you just keep thinking. At least in my eyes, I know your opinion. This is a guy who could be coaching into his 70s, and if he could coach for another 20 years, it means that he can be put in. I think he is greatest of all time, in the greatest of all time category. But if he kept coaching, man, he could really probably rival people like Woody Hayes and Bear Bryant to being the actual greatest of all time. It's just sad, but we almost blew a 28-3 lead. I don't know if you knew that, because we got conservative at the end.
Actually, I'm going to stop you there because Urban Meyer was not our first topic. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh,
obviously a bittersweet moment. As I said, we'll be talking Urban Meyer near the end of the first hour. But our first 15 to 20 minute segment here is going to be devoted to two things. It's going to be the Browns, and it's going to be another Brown, whether that's his last name, Antonio Brown, the great Steeler wide receiver, who I believe is a top 5 wide receiver in the National Football League. Told the Steelers yesterday, according to the report from Jason Lockenfora, that he would like a trade from Pittsburgh because he feels that Mike Tomlin is too close to Antonio Brown. I reached out to my good buddy Michael Reiner last night. He's from Pittsburgh. He was on my show late in the semester. He told me this is all BS, and if the Steelers made the playoffs, this story wouldn't even come out. And Michael's been right about a lot of things. I have a tendency to agree with him on that. Antonio Brown's a diva receiver. What are you going to do? He needs to grow up. And that's the bottom line, because he's such a great player. As I mentioned, top 5 receiver in the league. Steelers can't trade him or cut him because it would just be detrimental to the cap. If they trade him or cut him, they'd owe him $7 million next year and $14 million next year. So he's going to be on the team no matter what, unless this somehow resonates into the Kyrie Irving, LeBron James situation, where in that case, Mike Tomlin would be Dan Gilbert and Ben Roethlisberger will be LeBron, because that's what it sounded like to me yesterday, that Antonio Brown thinks he's the greatest player ever. Whatever. Diva wide receiver. Let me shift over to you. Your thoughts, and when I heard this news, I was shocked.
Well, I wasn't shocked because, Antonio Brown has been a problem for a little while now. I think it started in, what was that, 2016, 2017, early 2017, when he was live streaming in the locker room while Mike Tomlin was telling them how they're going to strategize against the Patriots. I mean, this shit's been going on for a while. And I don't know if you heard what Ryan Clark said, but he said that once Antonio Brown got his money, it's like a switch went off and he just changed into a diva. Because before he was that guy who would show up to practice every day and be a great team leader. Then all of a sudden he gets his money and he's acting like, don't touch me because if I'm hurt, we don't make the playoffs. And he was like acting all weird and everything. So I don't know what's wrong with the dude. I think he's way in over his head. And Cowherd actually made a good point for the first time in a while, that he had Jennings on. And I believe Greg Jennings went to Western or Eastern Michigan, one of the two. And was talking about how he went to a small school, wasn't heavily recruited. Let's see what else. He was drafted in like the fourth, fifth round, something like that. Same as Antonio Brown. And that for some reason, like guys like Greg Jennings were humbled and that they overachieved, but they never forgot where they came from. Seems like Antonio Brown is the opposite, where he's like, who cares if I was considered too short? Who cares if I went to a small school? Who cares if I was drafted in the fourth round? I got my money. Now that makes me the greatest player of all time. And it's like, you can't have that on a team.
Yeah, I watched Coward's whole show yesterday for the first time ever. I could not stop tuning in. It was that good. So shout out to him. Um, yeah, I think Greg Jennings made a good point. Here's where I was shocked. Um, and I agree with again, I agree with my good buddy Mike here. Is that I don't think this comes out if this is a playoff team. I really feel like that the whole thing started because Antonio Brown knew that the Browns weren't going to beat the Ravens, and he just didn't want to play. I think that's the bottom line of this equation. And as I mentioned, you can't trade him because obviously, he owes so much against the cap. So
yeah, they're in a really tough situation here, and and I'm gonna refer to a video by probably one of my favorite sports YouTubers, Urinating Tree, because he made because he's a Steelers fan, and he made a video about the Steelers and how like they're screwed in like 3 to 4 years. Well, he made that video a year and a half ago, where he's talking about how Mike Tomlin can't hold a locker room together, how Art Rooney II, who's the current owner of the Steelers, is an inept idiot. And he was saying, he's like, you Steelers fans constantly make fun of the Browns and the Bengals for being inept. Well, get ready because it's coming, because we're about to be like that for the next 20 years. And I was watching it going like, yeah, all right, well, the Steelers always find a way to get out of their bullshit, just like they did in the 80s, and they ended up getting the Super Bowl in the 90s. But it's looking like, forget the Patriots. The sky's falling in Pittsburgh if you think about it, because once Ben retires, they're screwed. You know that they won't fire Mike Tomlin because he's not going to lay the law down no matter what. And let's be honest here. I don't know about you, but I really think that the reason why they're not firing Mike Tomlin is because of the Rooney Rule, because they invented it. That was their thing, and it'll look really bad if they fire him because he's black. That's just my opinion, and it's a lot of other people's opinion too. That if Mike Tomlin was white, he would have been fired 3 years ago.
I want to remind you that Mike Tomlin was the defensive coordinator in Minnesota before he got the job. He had a reputation. He's a Tony Dungy disciple. I don't think Mike Tomlin's the worst coach in the world, but you know what? I'll defend Mike Tomlin on this. This is really not Mike Tomlin's fault.
Well, when you hear about the lack of discipline, though, with just players like Martavius Bryant, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, guys who've had like suspension problems and just problems latching out in the locker room, you think Belichick would tolerate this shit? No. And that's what makes him a better coach than Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin's problem is that, and El Presador, of all people, says this best. Mike Tomlin is a guy who wants to be a player, not a leader. And I think that's his problem, is that he's more of a strategist than Hugh Jackson, where he goes in the locker room and he's like, how you doing, buddy? What's going on? You have a good weekend? All that stuff. But when it comes time, like if a player fucks up and has some weed on him or is speeding his car, gets a bunch of tickets or something, he's just kind of like, okay, I hope you learned your lesson. Now get ready for Sunday's game. It's like, what? Like, dude, what kind of message is that sending?
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that. However, I do feel like, again, I don't think Mike Tomlin's the best coach in the world. I think he's done some things wrong. But I'm just saying, in this particular situation, you have a guy in Antonio Brown who apparently just went full Kyrie. We saw it here in Cleveland when Kyrie just really thought he I don't know what he thought. He's lost his mind ever since. Antonio Brown seems like he's lost his mind. Now, again, people have said that if you sit Antonio Brown and Big Ben down in a room, it's not going to work. I really disagree with that. This is what I would do if I was in charge of the Steelers. I would have, the GM, me, so the owner, the GM, Mike Tomlin, Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and maybe some other players, maybe some defensive players, maybe some leaders, maybe some old Steelers. Get about 10 to 15 guys in a room. Let's sit down. Let's talk about this. What do we need to do better as an organization to get on path? So then, because Antonio, you're a great football player. You're a top 5 wide receiver. You're the best wide receiver we've had here. You're better than Hines Ward, who was considered the best Steeler wide receiver of all time. We need you to beat the Patriots. We need you. If you played this past week, who knows? We might have blown out Cincinnati, and Baltimore might have got cold feet and lost to the Browns because they were probably scoreboard watching. Who knows? We need you. That would be my pitch. Is we need you to win a Super Bowl. What would you rather want? Do you want your money? Do you want more balls and more money? Or do you want more money because of more rings?
Right. Well, and I think what's frustrating is that Antonio Brown and most of the Steelers haven't even gotten a ring yet. And it's the same thing that they can't beat New England. And I think that's starting to kind of affect them in the locker room. Like, if you notice, Ben's been more douchey lately, like calling out players on his on the radio and calling out coaches and everything. And it's just weird. Like, this stuff never used to happen. And this is very. You're right. It is very Kyrie-like. And in this case, like you mentioned, how Mike Tomlin is Dan Gilbert. I think Mike Tomlin is Dan Gilbert, and Ben Roethlisberger is also Dan Gilbert, if you kind of feel what I mean. Because you heard the story, the stories about Ben calling out his receivers publicly. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with it if they were saying that he was doing it in practice or in a room. But when you go on the radio and start talking about how your receivers aren't on the same level as you, I can see how some players can kind of get frustrated at that. So I think it's just piss poor management, in my opinion. And if Antonio Brown isn't acting like a diva in this case, then I would kind of sympathize with him. But knowing his past, I don't know, man.
I just think it's frustrating to me because it's we talked about the Kyrie Irving situation. Kyrie Irving was a first round pick. Antonio Brown is first overall for Kyrie. Antonio Brown is a 6th round pick in the NFL.
Yeah, I know. Well, and there are a lot of similarities with the Kyrie trade because if you go on Twitter and Reddit and everything, a lot of Steelers fans are in denial. They're all saying, they're like, hey, he's never going to get traded. He's not going to get traded. You know how, like, that's kind of how we were when we're like, oh, that report is bullshit. Kyrie's never going to leave the Cavs. He said he never wants to leave here. Give it a couple weeks.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. The difference is the money. In the NBA, the money really didn't matter. You could trade for players and you wouldn't owe them anything. In the NFL, if you trade Antonio Brown, I already mentioned the Steelers next year, so the year 2020 season, they would owe him $14 million for him not being on the team.
Mm-hmm.
That is the difference. That's why if they didn't owe him anything, if this was his last year of his contract, I would say yes, absolutely. There's a good chance he gets traded. Unless this story completely boils over to a Le'Veon Bell situation where he won't even show up, then I think there's potential. But until then, I say no.
Yeah, and if it does boil over, there will be a trade because somebody's gonna. Because Le'Veon Bell is kind of an aging running back, and we're starting to realize that running back is a position that can easily be replaced. If a guy like Antonio Brown is on the block, there are going to be teams beating down their door and saying, hey, here's the deal that we can make. We can give you 2 first-round picks. We can take most of his salary, all this shit. And that's going to be interesting because I think both of our teams are going to be stepping to the front with that.
I want to leave it there. We will come back to this debate at the top of the hour. I want to move on to our next block, to our next topic here in this block, and that is our Cleveland Browns. Browns obviously lost to the Ravens in season finale, 26-24. You're the one that just told me this morning before we got on the air. You heard Greg Williams' interview went well. That to me is great. If you guys have been reading my Twitter account, you've been seeing I've been getting in debates, including with you and another one of our good buddies, Sean Fitzgerald, over Greg Williams Sunday night. You guys have already read my article, I'm sure, about Greg Williams. You guys already know how I feel about Greg Williams. Again, my good buddy Michael Reiner, I talked to him last night. He's a very honest Steelers fan. He told me this quote: I am scared to death if you guys retain Greg Williams because we're screwed.
Yeah,
that's what he told.
I kind of believe it, and this is a Browns team that almost beat the Steelers with Hugh Jackson. The second time it didn't. It was pretty bad. But the first time, dude, if Greg Williams was coaching those two games, I think we sweep the Steelers.
Oh, yeah. Again, what did I talk about the other day? That they went 5-3, and I get it. The Browns should have 7-8 wins with Hugh Jackson. That didn't happen. They get it with Greg Williams. Fine. I know a lot of people. They have criticized him, and you know what? I do get where a little bit of the criticism is from. But again, I made the argument with Todd Bowles. I made the argument with Dirk Cutter. I'm making the argument with Greg Williams. You fired these coaches this year. I told you the other day, if there was a Matt Nagy, if there was a Frank Reich, if there was a Sean McVay, a Doug Peterson, if there was one of those coaches out there this year, I would say absolutely yes. You do a full background search. You probably wouldn't bring back Greg Williams. But at the end of the day, this year, I don't really feel like there is that candidate. And I don't feel like there's a guy out there that could do a better job than Greg Williams. So I believe you bring him back for one more year. That's at least what I would do. Bring him back for one more year. You bring Freddie Kitchens along with him. If it doesn't work, you can fire Greg Williams and you can hire Freddie Kitchens or whoever you want. But if it does work, then you know you made the right decision. You're going to know you made the right decision if you bring him back one more year, no matter what, because you're going to find out is he the guy or not.
True, but and there are two guys who I think can be great head coaches who are young guys. And I think, it's Nick Sirianni, who's the offensive coordinator for the Colts, and Josh McDaniels. Those are the two who I think. But out of all those, that's like a needle in the haystack. Whereas like last year, there were so many candidates that you knew could probably end up taking over a franchise and making them really good. I think we saw that with at least 3 people. And yeah, you're right. I just don't see that this year. Unless we get lucky and maybe get like a Bruce Arians type of person or something like that. Mike McCarthy's not going to do it. Who else? Who else is available? Bieniemy, we don't know about him.
I think, hold on, I want to cut you off here. I think the two really interesting candidates are both Harbaugh brothers. Because Coward said it yesterday. The reason why John Harbaugh's name has come up as well as Jim Harbaugh's is because if John Harbaugh wanted to stay in Baltimore, he would have his agents shut down these rumors. The reason why he's not having them being shut down, the reason why his name is out there, is because he does not believe that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are sustainable. He believes the Ravens are going to be shit in 1 to 2 years, and he wants to get out.
Well, I agree with him on that. On that aspect, because I'm not a Lamar Jackson believer. When when you're running the ball with him that much, I don't know, man. If you put him in a situation where he's got to throw and lead a drive without running, he's screwed. And plus, that defense is old. It's really old. Terrell Suggs is going to be gone. Jimmy Smith is nowhere near as good as he used to be. From what I heard, Marlon Humphrey sucks and it wasn't worth the first-round pick. And I think that's part of the reason why Ozzie Newsome's retiring. Their first-round pick was a tight end, like it's 1978. It's just a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. And I could see where Harbaugh is coming from.
Again, I think the two coaches that I would take over Greg Williams are both Harbaugh brothers. Besides that, um, I don't know if I would take any other head coach. You're on the Josh McDaniels bandwagon. I get where everybody's coming from with this guy, but I think you kind of get where I'm coming from too. I just think that you know what? I get it. You know, some coaches learn their second time around, like Belichick. But you know, Belichick did have success a little bit in Cleveland. People I think underestimate the little success he did have. Judge McDaniels had no success, and according to multiple reports, he pissed off a lot of Broncos players, and they flat out quit on him.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the thing that didn't happen. That didn't happen with Belichick either here. But well, you know, people say, "Oh, how come they started out 4-2 and what was it? Was some I don't know, 5 and something in 1995, and then they finished with a losing record." Don't even start with us by bringing that up because they didn't quit on Belichick. And I'll quote Jim Donovan by saying, you know, but this is a saying that Jim Donovan said during a game after Vinny Testaverde threw like his third interception or something. He said, "For a team that was supposed to go to the Super Bowl, it's really a shame to watch them now. It's almost as if someone threw a hand grenade right in the middle of that locker room." So they didn't quit on him. And yeah, Josh McDaniels had a horrible tenure in Denver. But I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that John Elway is very toxic in the front office. And Bronco, and I think if he wasn't there, yeah, he lucked out and he got Peyton Manning and DeMarcus Ware. But that, you know, if you're John Elway, of course you're going to be able to get that. I don't know. I really think McDaniels has learned his lesson. I think he's going to do a really good job his next go around. And I said this on our New Year's Eve live stream that the similarities are uncanny. McDaniels goes to Denver, or he's a coordinator for, or at least on the staff for Belichick for years, just like how Belichick was on Parcells' staff for years. He goes to his first coaching job, has kind of a rocky start, and then ultimately fails miserably. Goes back to Belichick. Belichick went back with Parcells. The Jets want Belichick to be the head coach. He says no after saying yes. Daniels goes to the Colts, says yes, then gets cold feet after the Super Bowl, says no. There's a lot of similarities here, and it's uncanny to me.
I get what you're coming from, and I think part of you just wants it because you think for some reason that Belichick wants to come back to Cleveland and win us a ring. I don't think Belichick.
I'm not saying Belichick wants to come back. I'm saying that he's going to send the only coach that he's prepared to be the only coordinator that he's prepared now to be a head coach. I think he wants him to come here and do what he couldn't do. That's just my opinion.
Well, I respectfully disagree with your take. Again, to me, Josh McDaniels is a proven guy. I'm going to watch the Patriots more closely this postseason than ever. That's just my takeaway. If he's a great offensive mind, because they don't have shit in New England behind Tom Brady. If Brady struggles at all in the postseason, don't even ask me about McDaniels.
Oh yeah, no, and I agree. But if they can overcome that, then I think you really need to take a hard look at McDaniels and say, I think this guy could really lead. And you know, it's not a coincidence that Brady's had his best career revival since then. You know, I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting parallels there.
All right, we will leave it there. We are going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break. When we get back, we are going into the bottom of the hour. In the bottom of the hour, we are going to go around the NFL. We're going to talk about the NFL standings, the draft order. We're talking about the NFL head coaching vacancies, where we think teams are going, and that stuff. We're going to do that for about 20 minutes. And then we are going to dive into Urban Meyer's retirement and the Rose Bowl. when we get back here on Brandon's World. So just sit tight. We'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, guys, and we are back here on Brand's World. And here we go, bottom of the hour. Andrew Baca is joining me on this Wednesday, January 2nd, 2019. We have a lot to get to. Let's just dive into it really quick here. I'm going to run off the NFL standings for the rest of the year and the NFL Week 17 scores along with the draft order, and we're going to debate here as we go. So, in Week 17, at the 1 o'clock window, we had the Patriots beating the Jets 38-3. Your boy Sam Darnold did not look very good. New England looked great. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Well, Sam Darnold is a lot like no. All right, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, he looked awful, and I know it was against the Patriots, but their defense is terrible. You'd think that you could probably do better. But I don't know. This was just a tee-off game for the Patriots, and I think it was a game where the Jets just quit on Todd Bowles. But it was kind of funny because it looked like the Jets quit on Todd Bowles, but Sam Darnold didn't get the memo. Like he's like that oblivious kid in class who's just like, "Oh, I didn't know that it was senior prank day. I'm sorry." Whereas like he was like actually the only one out there trying. Oh, I found that kind of funny.
You really don't like Sam Darnold.
I really don't. I don't know why. I don't know why I do. I mean, I don't hate him as a person. I don't know. I
think you do. I really think you do. Something bothers you about Sam Darnold.
All right. You know what I don't like about him? He seems very fake. Like he's hiding something with this boring. I'm gonna be the best that I can be.
Really
go to bed by 9 o'clock. Like I'm 84. And I'm gonna be the best and not take notes either. Just it seems like he's hiding something.
Some guys are like that, man. I'm like that. I guarantee you when I have a radio show. Ask Coward. Coward said he went to bed at 9 o'clock the other night. It's normal. People have jobs. Weak kids can go to class and work and stuff on 5 hours of sleep. 50-year-old adults can't do that. They need sleep, and you know what? Maybe Sam Darnold just a heavy sleeper. Maybe Sam Darnold needs sleep. Maybe Sam Darnold learns better when he's not taking notes. Some people learn better that way. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the world, but I told you last night my love for quarterbacks. I don't hate Sam Darnold. I really don't like Josh Rosen that much because of his attitude and his ego and his cockiness, which is way more than Baker Mayfield. But when it comes to Sam Darnold, I see a quiet kid who's a good quarterback. And believe it or not, I can't believe I'm going to say this because I don't like the guy that much. I mean, I love Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen more than him. But with good coaching, and if you can get a Matt Nagy or even a Josh McDaniels in New York with Sam Darnold, that, if McDaniels works out, can bring that energy out of Sam Darnold and can make him a great player, I think Sam Darnold has a future. Sam Darnold has energy, okay? Believe it or not, I believe inside there's something that motivates Sam Darnold. Because that bowl game against Ohio State, he played terrible, but there was nothing on the line. Sam Darnold knows as well as I do, bowl games don't matter. I don't care what scout is watching. Your pro day to me matters more than a bowl game. I wouldn't play a bowl game. I would never play a bowl game if I was a college player. Never. That's why when you play the NFL preseason, they really don't tackle that hard. And they miss a lot of tackles because they don't want guys getting hurt. So you just go through the motions. We're in a bowl game, Ohio State played hard yesterday for Urban Meyer, but if that wasn't Urban Meyer's last game, I don't know if Dwayne Haskins plays.
He would. And let me ask you this question real quick. So let's say you were a player in college and you just said that you wouldn't play in a bowl game, but let's say it was your beloved coach's last game, like he's going to retire and that's it. He's going to ride off to the sunset. Would you play that game just to say hey, I love you, coach. This is your last game. I'm going to go out there and play my ass off for you.
I don't know if I would.
Wow. Let's say it was Doug, even if it was Doug Peterson.
Think about it though. It's the risk of getting hurt. It's the risk of getting hurt.
Yeah, I get it.
I've had a great I had a great career for you. I am playing for you. I love you. But I'm playing a meaningless game for you. If I get hurt, if I tear my ACL, my whole career may be over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. And I get, like Nick Bosa was probably a good example looking back on it. I mean, that dude pulled the groin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I defend Nick Bosa. All right, we are getting a little bit off topic. I want to get back on topic.
Let me just say one more thing. Let me just say one thing. I'm sorry. All right, I don't hate Sam Darnold. I just don't like him as much as I would. I know I don't hate the person. I mean, if he would grow enough balls to maybe go out to a bar, I'd love to have a beer with him. But but I don't know. Just something about him seems off with me, and I've spotted it from day one. Also, point to you, Jeremy in Akron, who's one of my favorite Browns fans on Twitter, who also runs the Orange Browns podcast, which you can listen to on iTunes. He said that an Ohio State player was DM'd him because he asked him about what he thinks about the quarterbacks, and he said that if the Browns draft Sam Darnold, it'll be same old Browns all over again. So that's just that. I'm done with this. Okay, just wanted to put that out there.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with you for the next 55 minutes. No commercial break. Next game, Bills Jets 42-17. Our guy Josh Allen scored 5 total touchdowns, 3 passing, 2 running, with Zay Jones and Marcus Murphy as his wide receivers. I'll tell you what, you get this kid some playmakers. I would try to find a deal for Sean McCoy because he's just old and he's a bust now. If you can get a younger running back, maybe in the draft, someone in the second or third round, you get some playmakers around Josh Allen. You get some free agents to fix that offensive line. Their defense is pretty well set. The Bills can make a run to be the second best team in the AFC East next year.
Yeah, I agree. And they need to do 2 things. They need to build an offensive line. Now that Kyle Williams is retired, that line is like a turnstile. Okay. If you can build Josh Allen an offensive line, give him time in the pocket. There's a reason why Baker Mayfield is so successful because he has time to throw and he's not getting rushed all the time.
Kyle Williams is a defensive lineman, right?
He is. I always thought he was offense.
He is a defensive tackle.
Who am I confusing him with?
Kyle Long, maybe the
yeah. My bad. Sorry,
brother.
Sorry, my bad.
And they're playing this weekend. Just a little tidbit before we get to our NFL wildcard picks.
Yeah, I had a brain fart right there. My bad, people.
Yeah, maybe you got confused because he caught a pass in a game.
Yeah.
Send him off. I don't know.
Yeah. That's that's it. But yeah, my bad. Anyway, but they need an offensive line, and you mentioned a running back. And obviously wide receivers other than Zay Jones. They need to desperately target on one receiver, whether it be in free agency or the draft. But you know who I think would be the perfect running back in Buffalo? Mike Weber. Because he's that type of guy who can get you 4 yards, and he can get you 5 yards, and he can get you 6 yards. He's that type of running back, and they need a running back like that in Buffalo. When it's cold and you're going to have to run the ball a lot, and that's going to take the stress off of Josh Allen, because I wouldn't want Josh Allen running all the time.
Right.
Especially with Josh Allen's history of having a bad collarbone. A lot of people don't remember that he broke his collarbone his first year at Wyoming.
Oh, yeah, true. All right, next game, we got the Texans and Jaguars in Houston, 20-3. Houston wrapped up the AFC subdivision. I don't know if you know this, but on 4th and 1, when the game was already in hand with like 40 seconds left, the Texans went for it and caught a pass play. So don't ask me why. Houston and Indianapolis is a very intriguing matchup. Deshaun Watson didn't play particularly well. I've been noticing what a lot of people have been saying too is he holds the ball way too long. Deshaun Watson missed a lot of open reads the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that was his. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was one of his knocks coming out of college, is that he holds the ball too long. And with coaching, you can correct it, but like you said, he was holding on to the ball too long, and I don't know, man.
All right. Next game. This was a crazy finish of this game. Cowboys beat the Giants in a meaningless game. Cole Beasley with that great catch in the back of the end zone. Dallas wins 36-35. Don't know why Dallas played their starters, but they won the game.
Yeah, and my mom is a Cowboys fan, as you know, and we were watching that game and just watching Eli Manning trying to drive his team down the field was just so sad. Like it was like rolling out a 105-year-old onto the field to do a coin toss. It was like the George Bush coin toss at the Super Bowl. Remember when he just kind of like shucked it and it didn't even flip, and they're just like, oh, it's tails. Like they didn't want to make him redo it. That's kind of what it looked like. This is watching Eli Manning trying to do a game-winning drive where he's just fumbling around and just kind of like chucking it in the air and just being like, "Ah, shit! I hope it lands on the right receiver." Oh, it didn't. I overthrew him by 10 yards. All right, let's try this again. Pat Shermer won't run with Saquon Barkley.
To be fair, they didn't have an offensive line. They don't have Odell Beckham. Their number one receiver was Cody Lattimore. They still put up 35 points on the Cowboys. So
yeah, I know that's obviously not comforting for the Cowboys either. But I'm just saying, wise up, Giants. You need a new quarterback. Don't listen to the fans, and that's what really screwed the Giants out of getting one of those good quarterbacks last year, was that they didn't want to upset their dear fan base. Sometimes you got to upset them in order to make the team better, and they didn't do that, and they're paying the price now.
All right, next game was the Lions and Packers. Now, here's a note I found out this morning. The Lions let our favorite offensive coordinator name ever, Jim Bob Cooter, go. So Jim Bob Cooter is no longer the offensive coordinator of the Lions. He is unemployed.
Yeah, and it's rightfully so. Apparently, the guy's name may be really fun, but his offense isn't. I heard he's just an idiot when it comes to calling offense, and that the kind of revival that he had, that Matt Stafford had under him, mainly had to do with Jim Caldwell, where I think Jim Caldwell ended up getting a little more involved in the offense, and so I don't know. It's just, in my opinion, at one point Jim Bob Cooter probably could have gotten a job, probably last year, but I think he's stuck being a coordinator for at least a few more years. Which is a shame we won't get to hear that name much anymore.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, I told you DeShone Kizer came in for Aaron Rodgers. He had a concussion. I really think Brogan Roback could have played better quarterback than him. He was completely awful, and Mike Penn's defense quit on Green Bay. So there's a note for you. Carolina beat the Saints in a meaningless game. Teddy Bridgewater didn't play really good. That's a bad sign for his future, but that's a meaningless game. Really don't want to spend time on it. Atlanta beat Tampa Bay in a game that was meaningless. We have some notes coming out of it, though, at the end. Atlanta won the game 34-32, but they did fire both their coordinators. Tampa Bay fired Dirk Utter, and they're keeping Jameis Winston. I know that's a lot of news to handle right there, but give me your thoughts on all that news.
Well, the Falcons firing both coordinators is justified. I wouldn't have gotten rid of Dan Quinn. I would have. You're right. They did the right thing by chopping the heads off of the two coordinators right there. Tampa Bay, I don't think they know what they're doing. Because let's be honest, I don't know if you agree with me, but Jameis Winston is a bust. Can we agree with that? For where he was taken at the number one, he's a bust. You agree or no?
I don't. I do, but I don't like Jameis. I think he's a turnover machine. Jameis Winston reminds me a lot of your boy Sam Darnold. But for some reason, there's just something about Jameis Winston though that I do like his physical traits. I think he's a gamer. I think he played really well since he got benched. Since he came back in when Fitzmagic happened early in the year, I thought he played really well. And to be honest, like I said, I don't know if Dirk Carter deserved to be fired because their defense was terrible, but they could score points. I mean, they put up a lot of points. Their offense is still a good offense. Tampa Bay is not a bad job, and the problem with them is their front office, which makes it a bad job. But if you look at their division, Carolina, Atlanta, they're inconsistent. Drew Brees, when the Saints retire, probably not going to be any good. I look at the Bucks as like they're in a Bills or Browns situation where the rest of the division's going down a little bit and they're going to be on the way up, kind of like how the Bears job was last year when Matt Nagy took it. I think the Bucks just need a little bit of retooling on their defense, and they're a good, solid football team. I mean, I think they're an average team this year that only won 5 games that could have won 7 or 8. Um, Back to Jameis Winston. I think you're right for the spot he was taking. He's a bust, but I think that word bust is thrown around. I think it depends on what your definition of a bust is. My definition of a bust is a guy that can't play, like Jamarcus Russell, in the NBA, Anthony Bennett, Kwame Brown. Kind of those guys. I'm trying to think like Luke Jokel, in the NFL. Deion Jordan, Marcus Smith,
Mm-hmm.
who we all remember Marcus Smith. I'm talking about guys that like cannot play that are fourth stringers that got taken in the first round. That is my definition of a bust. So Jameis Winston to me is not a bust. He was overdrafted.
Yeah, yeah, and I would have taken Mariota if I was the if I were the Bucks.
Yeah,
We
but
had this debate
yeah, and
a
again,
long
the
time ago.
arguments came out too, and we agree with it. But I think Mariota and Winston are both worse than we both thought.
Yeah, yeah. There were some people who thought that you're getting franchise quarterback back to back. I don't think Jameis Winston is a franchise quarterback because the way like his off the field stuff where he's groping Uber drivers and stealing shit. That's obviously not a look that you're going to want for your organization. Mariota models it. It's just he's not good. you know.
Yeah, but again, I think part of that's coaching. They have this offensive coordinators on the Rams coaching training. I don't see it. I don't know how. They don't use Corey Davis. How many times in this past week have I ranted about Corey Davis? I think that guy is a freaking monster. I saw it against my defense, week 4. The one game Corey Davis had a good game this year was against the Philadelphia Eagles when he torched my secondary. Okay? The guy completely flat out destroyed us. Destroyed us. Nobody could cover him. It was like Eric Rowe trying to cover Calvin Johnson. Thanks a lot, Chip Kelly. That's what it was like. I'm sorry. The dude's a monster. They don't know how to use him. Marcus Mariota doesn't have a big arm. He needs a college offense. I think if he would have been with Chip Kelly in Philadelphia, I hate to say, because thank God we fired him and have Carson Wentz, but I think his career would be different. I think Chip Kelly's career would be different. I'm just being honest. This whole thing would be different. He got drafted in the wrong place.
Yeah, I agree. And what's the guy's name? Matt LaFleur or something like that.
Matt LaFleur, I think.
Uh-huh. He was being brought up last year as like a guy who's going to be a top coaching candidate. And you're right, he hasn't because the Titans hired him. They're like, hey, you came from McVay, you obviously know what you're doing. Implement that stuff here. And he's like, okay. Then week 1 comes and he's just like, oh yeah, all that stuff that I said that I could do about like Sean McVay type of stuff. Yeah, I kind of lied. Like that's kind of what he's doing.
Right.
Mhm.
All right, let's move on here. We got the Chiefs. They beat the Raiders 35-3. A lot of news coming out of Oakland. Mike Mayock being their general manager. Kansas City's going to the number 1 seed in the AFC. They will host a playoff game next Saturday at 4:30 on NBC. We'll get to all that later. I just want to run through the scores here a little bit. Chargers beat the Broncos 23-9 to lock up the 5 seed. Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati 16-13 in an ugly game, which then the Steelers got to sit on Heinz Field and all the fans got to chant Browns at Heinz Field and cry. That was funny to see. We had the Bears beating the Vikings 24-10, which was good for me because my Eagles won 24-0 against Washington. They got in the playoffs. LA beat San Francisco 48-32 in a really high scoring game. Seattle beat Arizona 27-24. The Colts beat the Titans 33-17 on the Sunday Night Capper, and then of course Baltimore beat the Browns 26-24. So that being said, let's just go over really quick the NFL standings for the end of the year. AFC East Patriots finished 11-5, Miami 7-9, Buffalo 6-10, Jets 4-12. AFC West, Kansas City 12-4, tied with the Chargers, but they won the tiebreaker. Denver 6-10, Oakland 4-12. AFC North, Baltimore won the division 10-6, Pittsburgh 9-6-1, Browns 2 games back, Cincinnati finished in last place. AFC South, Houston 11-5, Indy 10-6, Tennessee 9-7, Jacksonville 5-11. NFC East, Dallas finishes with a 10-6 record. Philly went 9-7, Washington 7-9, the Giants went 5-11. NFC West, the Rams won the division at 13-3, Seattle finished 10-6. The Niners finished 4-12 without Jimmy G. Arizona went 3-13. NFC North, Chicago 12-4, Minnesota 8-7-1, Green Bay 6-9-1, Detroit 6-10. NFC South, the Saints 13-3, Atlanta 7-9, Carolina went 7-9, Tampa Bay went 5-11. With all that being said, here is the draft order for the next year 2019 draft. Arizona, San Francisco, the Jets, Oakland, Tampa Bay, the Giants, the Jags, the Lions, the Broncos, and the Bills. That's your top 10. 11 for 20 is Cincinnati, Green Bay, Miami, Atlanta, Washington, Carolina, the Browns, Minnesota, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh. I do think that there is a possibility, and if I was Arizona, I would see about possibly trading this pick.
Why?
Well, here's why. You know how I feel about drafting defensive players number 1 overall.
Yes,
I know,
yes. In your last
I
prediction,
know,
right?
I know. But I do think that Nick Bosa isn't going to be as good as Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I agree. They can't stay healthy. That family cannot stay healthy.
And I do think you look at a team that needs a quarterback. If a team thinks Dwayne Haskins is going to be great, you look at a team like Oakland. I'm looking at the Giants. I'm looking at Jacksonville. I'm looking at
Denver.
maybe Denver at 9. If you can trade down 6, 7 spots and you can get a lot of value in that, I think there's a possibility they could trade down. I also think at number 2, considering that San Francisco has Jimmy G, there's a possibility they could trade down if another team likes. I think there's a really good D tackle in this draft. I think that's a possibility. I also think there's a possibility for the Browns to move up a little bit into the top 10. A lot of people said the Browns, talk about the Browns trading down to get a superstar player. I don't see that. I actually see the Browns trying to trade up a little bit because we do have draft capital and maybe trying to take one of those top wide receivers. Maybe you trade up to number 8 with Detroit, or 12 with Green Bay. You move up 5 spots because Dorsey's a very good trading partner with Green Bay. I think that's a very possibility for the Browns on draft night.
Yeah, and I do like the receivers that we have. Or, it's possible. There's rumors that Ed Oliver will probably fall in the draft because he's had a few altercations with the coach in Houston, and the coaches in Houston University are idiots. Like I heard that they just like antagonize players and stuff like that, and it's not a very good it's not a very good place to be. Like there was a thing where Ed Oliver was sitting out a game, and he had a jacket on that they give to like the players exclusively. And he was wearing it on the sideline, and some coach got pissy with him and saying, "Oh, you're not playing for the rest of the year. Why are you wearing this jacket? You're not on the team anymore." And Ed Oliver's like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" And the coach just kept antagonizing him, and Ed Oliver got pissed. And I kind of get where he's coming from, rightly so. I'd be pissed too. So there's going to be people who are going to throw that up, plus the fact that he's undersized. But I really think that this guy's like the next Khalil Mack. Excuse me. And so if he falls like out of the top 10, then absolutely you trade up for this guy. If not, then you stay put at 17. and you take N'Keal Harry or A.J. Brown, the two wide receivers.
Fair enough. Again, I haven't done many scouting yet. I haven't watched any bowl games because I don't care about them. I normally go back after the season, and there's these YouTube videos where you can watch every throw or every catch, stuff like that. And I'll go back and I'll watch film, and I will make my drafts. It's one of my goals this year is to basically take over what Mike Mayock would be doing.
Yes,
is to make mock drafts. And with that being said, let's dive in here. We have 5 minutes till the top of the hour. This 5 minutes is going to be all for you. Just go ahead and talk about your boy, Urban.
Well, I am going to miss that guy a lot, and I'm going to miss you after every game, whether it's a cupcake game against a team like Tulane, or whether it's a complicated game like Penn State where James Franklin inevitably blows the lead, where you just scream, "How did Urban win? Lucky Urban, yeah." I'm going to miss that. I'm also going to miss the fact that we're going to be able to kick people's ass every year and have one bad loss and still get snubbed by the committee. Fucking bastards. And, I could go on a rant about them, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna say that, Urban Meyer saved a historic program. If you think about it, after Tattoo-gate, we all thought we were screwed, and I think we were. If you think about it, Tattoo-gate is nothing. So what? They got like $50 gift cards and a couple tattoos. If anything, that should just be a slap on the wrist. But the NCAA turned it into a huge scandal, like they were dealing drugs or something. But when you get a guy like Urban, he won what, like 90% of his games or something like that.
Not sure.
Yeah, it was something huge. The fact that he only has one national championship is kind of bullshit, because there were some like Gene Smith made some dumb decisions where he took a bowl ban. Then Urban Meyer comes here and he has an undefeated season, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, you can't play in a bowl game." But we would have been able to, which means we would have been in the national championship. And I think that year it would have been Ohio State either versus Notre Dame or versus LSU, both of our former rivals, who we've had history with, and Gene Smith prevented that from happening. So thank you. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, and I'm going to say, I've said this again. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. If Urban Meyer didn't have these health problems, he would be coaching into his 70s, and I think it would be with Ohio State. And I think that we would probably, after Nick Saban hangs it up, I think then we would be the next dynasty in college football. But what are you going to do? I'm looking forward to Ryan Day being the head coach. Actually, he called a pretty good game, except towards the end. My worry about Ryan Day is that he's going to become like Jim Tressel, where you get really conservative at the end and blow it. You saw that a little bit yesterday, but I think just because the emotions were high and everything, the players kind of lost sight of it. So I'll chalk that one up as that, but I might be being in denial. But yeah, I don't know. Thanks, man. Thanks for the years of fun football, and for the banner that I have hanging up on my wall that says 2014 national championship or national champions. Woo.
Amen. There will never be another Urban Meyer. As much as the Eagles hate you because they prove you wrong every single week, Urban Meyer hates me because he proved me wrong every single week. Every single week I would come on for the last 4 or 5 years, and I would tell you, this is the day Urban Meyer falls. And then somehow, some way, Urban Meyer pulls it out of his ass.
You were like Alex Jones when it came to Urban Meyer, like how Alex Jones is like, it's like, pretty soon the Queen is going to be exposed as a reptilian vampire. And you're just like, aha. TCU put up 14 points. Meanwhile, Ohio State scored 35. Aha. And it's just like, I'm just reading your text going, Brandon, what the fuck? Like, I'm like,
With that being said, we are at the top of the hour here, hour number 2 in Brennan's World. Andrew, it's been a fun first hour, hasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, I'm having fun.
All right, we are at the top of the hour. Welcome to the show. This is your first taste of a live radio show. I know it's YouTube. I know it's different, but how do you like the feel of it? I know it's not like a real radio show, but it's your first kind of taste of a radio simulation.
Yeah, it is different. I like the format of podcasting more, where you're just constantly going, and that's a lot harder. I can give you that, because I did kind of like this break, because I got up and got some water. As for people who don't know, I've been battling a cold lately, so it's been nice to keep adding more water to my throat, which feels just so great. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it.
All right. With that being said, guys, we're going to take a break in about 15 to 20 minutes. We are going to dive back in here. Thank you for talking about Urban Meyer. Amen, Urban. You are the best. You will be missed by me. Yes, even I, your biggest hater, will miss you. With that being said, we are back talking Antonio Brown and the Browns. We talked about it at the top of the show with Antonio Brown. You brought up an interesting point before we left this topic. You said that both of our teams, mainly the Eagles and the Browns, would be going after Antonio Brown. And I want to tell you that I don't want to go after Antonio Brown if I'm either of those teams. Um, I do think that that both of those locker rooms, especially the Browns, keep Greg Williams, could handle a guy like Antonio Brown, because Doug Peterson has handled a lot of personalities. But there are also personalities that like to win. A lot of people question the Michael Bennett trade. A lot of people thought it wouldn't work out. I told you it was going to work out because of the people we have in that organization and in that locker room, mainly Malcolm Jenkins and Chris Long and all the people that make that team work. Malcolm Malcolm Jenkins, Chris Long, Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett has been a great signing for us. So I wouldn't be worried about Antonio Brown, but I don't want to deal with it. Same thing goes to the Browns. We've dealt with the Cowboys situation. We've dealt with the Josh Gordon situation. I don't want to deal with it. We're done. We're moving past to a new organization. Pittsburgh is the drama organization of the NFL. Antonio Brown is right where he belongs in Pittsburgh. He's going to make plays. He's never going to win a Super Bowl. And by the way, I don't know if you just realized this like I did. I'm talking like Jim Rome again. I better stop. But the Madden curse is real.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up too, because I find it really ironic. One more thing, real quick. I'm going to change topics. Do you want some breaking news?
Yes, breaking news is always good. Go on.
Yeah, you're a wrestling fan. Gene Okerlund died.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh God, no. Oh God. Oh
Yeah.
God. Oh God. Why? Why does something like this always happen on when we're on the air and you guys get to hear my real reaction? Oh God. Um. Oh God. That is sad.
Yeah, that dude was cool. I didn't notice though, but I just read that he had like a shitload of health problems and stuff.
Don't tell me he died from taking steroids.
What,
Oh,
dude?
God.
What, dude? He was a fucking announcer. He wasn't a wrestler.
Yeah, I know, but still, you never know.
He was 76, and he had like kidney transplants and stuff.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, he was that strong. You know who he is, right?
Yeah, of course I know who he is. But yeah, you never know. You know,
Yeah.
some wrestler might have slipped him something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
From what it sounds like, he was just like really unhealthy towards the end, and he finally gave out. Oh well.
Oh man.
I like that guy.
Oh man.
Funniest thing was when Daniel Tosh was making fun of WWE and he dressed up as him. And oh, I found it funny.
Oh man. We're to talk about UFC a little bit later. Man, that is tough news. Uh,
Yeah.
we wish condolences to the Gene Okerlund family, his friends, his family. We are praying for you in this time of need.
Uh-huh. All right, we were talking about the Madden curse, right? Where we
Yeah.
before I interrupted you with that. Uh,
Yep.
yeah, it's let's see. Let's see who are the last. You probably name the last 7 Madden players, and they're all cursed. Let's see. Was it Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski,
Gronk, Brady,
Brady, Odell Beckham,
Odell, Richard
Madden
Sherman.
20. Madden, do you think Madden 20? Well, Adrian Peterson was on the next gen cover.
Right.
I think that counts. See, Calvin
Yep.
Johnson,
Richard Sherman, Calvin Johnson.
our boy Peyton Hillis, Madden 11.
Oh
That was
God.
Drew Brees. I don't think that counts. I think that's where the Madden curse kind of slowed its roll.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I think since Man 12.
mm-hmm. Yeah. God, I can't believe Browns fans got Peyton Hillis on the cover over Michael Vick. We
By the
really
way,
are the greatest fans in the world.
yeah. I'm reading the tweet you sent me about the Chiefs replacing him with the rising star of the 31-year-old QB coach Mike Kafka. You know he was the third string quarterback of the Eagles.
Yeah, that's why I sent that to you. Is it
Oh
that you would get a kick out of it?
my God. That's like Kellen Moore being a good being a good coach.
I like Kellen Moore, even though I don't know. Hey, I mean, Dak looks okay. I mean, Dak, you can only work with so much with Dak Prescott. It's like
Yeah.
it's like teaching teaching an octopus how to cook a meal. I mean, it might be able to be done, but it more than likely can't.
Ooh, you want to hear some more breaking news?
Sure.
According to Pro Football Talk, the Buccaneers have interest in hiring Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly.
No way. Are you fucking serious?
By the way, is he related to Chip Kelly? Because I don't think he is, but he always looks like Chip Kelly.
You got a good point.
Doesn't he look like Chip Kelly?
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't think they are related.
No, they're not, but he always looks like them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, my God, you're right about the Bucs. They are dysfunctional.
That would be so funny. Hiring a guy who almost lost to Vanderbilt.
And got destroyed by Clemson.
Yeah, that too. And just, remember he ruined Deshaun Kaiser at having at least any shot at the NFL.
Well, he told Kaiser he needed another year, which he was right.
Yeah, true. But Brian Kelly's game doesn't translate to the NFL. Doesn't even translate well in college. So.
No.
Did you say he's close or he's a top candidate? I'm sorry. Did you say he's close or?
Yes, he is a top candidate.
Wow.
They have interest.
Who was your source?
Vast interest. Pro Football Talk. They just tweeted it out 45 minutes ago.
Wow, that is hilarious. That is hilarious.
That being said, we need to move on because I don't know if you heard about this, but, well, this came out late last weekend. LeBron was sitting around with his friends, and he told people that after he came back down from 3-1 against Golden State, he considered himself the GOAT. He said he never really thought about it before, but he said in that moment, he said when he was crying, that was real tears because he's like, F, man, I did a really good thing for F in Cleveland, man. No matter what I do in LA, that championship in Cleveland will always be my best accomplishment. And, F, man, at that point, I'm like, I'm the GOAT. F MJ. That's something really special you did.
Yeah, I kind of get where he's coming from. Like Joe Madden is no longer remembered for blowing the World Series in 2008. He's now known as the manager who won the Cubs their World Series. Same way that Barry Trotz is is no longer considered that failure that he was in the with the Nashville Predators. He's now known as the head coach who finally won the Washington Capitals a Stanley Cup. So yeah, LeBron is forever etched in sports lore, no matter how long it is. No matter how long it'll be that he won Cleveland their first championship in 52 years. Baker Mayfield could come here and win 4 Super Bowls, but I think, we'll all owe that to LeBron. The Indians had a chance to keep the ball rolling, but, be the fucking Washington Capitals, so the MLB seems to be okay with them. I still can't forgive him. But yeah, I think LeBron is right. And I think he would be the greatest of all time, and people would be unanimously saying it if the Warriors didn't pull that bull crap that they did, where they're like, oh man, we can't even beat LeBron for being the greatest of all time. Let's do like the worst move of all time for sportsmanship and bring in the second greatest player in the NBA. That sounds fair.
Now, again, I have defended that move from day one. I will still defend that move because that was a place where Kevin Durant wanted to go and win. Now that his contract is up, if he leaves at the end of this year, that can save the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, but it cost us a dynasty, man. We were a dynasty. And it just,
I know.
If you think about it, man, the Cavs were one loss away from being the 90s Bills of basketball. They would have made a movie about it called The Four Falls of Cleveland in 20 years.
2015, 2017, 2018, 2019. Actually, you could have done 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
But I do want to make this point really quick. Because I know when we get back on the air in February, a lot of my BSR colleagues, I'm not speaking for them, but a lot of them are going to be talking a lot of NBA. I know they are, because a lot of them are sports fans, and they need to talk about sports nationally. Blah 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 blah. You know what Coward said the other day?
What?
There's a
How
reason.
much you love Sam Darnold?
No, there's a reason why he didn't talk college football this year. Because Alabama, Clemson were going to make the national championship. The only reason why he's talking about the NBA is because LeBron is on the Lakers. That is the only reason. And I have no interest in people. Well, we got to trust the process. Look at Christmas Day, man. Look at James Harden balling. Look at Russell Westbrook, man, balling. Look at Kyrie Irving balling. Look at this game, bro. Who cares? I'm gonna say this again when we get back on the air in February, so prepare for the same rant, but here we go. Who cares about the National Basketball Association? The National Basketball Association is over. It's rigged. Why do you care about a league where the champion has already been decided? Why do you care about a regular season of James Harden? Look at that step back, bro. Look at him. He scored 50 points. What if this happens? Do they have a chance to beat the Warriors? Stop it. Just stop it right now. It's not, well, Brandon, you're wrong because we have to look at both sides of the issue. No, I'm not wrong. You just incompetent fools don't have the balls and the guts to say what a man like me has the guts to say. I don't give a damn what anybody says. The NBA season is over. Well, if this happened, blah, 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 blah. And I'm wondering, what if this and what if that? And we have to watch because, this could happen and this BS. At the end of the day, no matter if it's a 6-game series, a 7-game series, or a 4-game sweep, I will say this. If Golden State gets eliminated, talk to me. Because at the end of the day, I'm not picking anybody else to win the championship but Golden State. Just the way it is. Nobody has the balls to say. Everybody's going to sit down on their little chairs, on their little radio show, and they're going to go, let's go over the NBA last night. Oh, the Cavs lost. Oh, the Warriors lost. The Rockets won. Does this mean the Rockets are better than the Warriors? Folks, it's TV time. It's basically like me sitting here in front of my desk and me talking for half an hour about nonsense just to fill time. It's like you doodling. Is what it is. It's like you doodling in class because you're bored because the professor's talking about some history back in 1875 that makes no sense. Okay, the NBA makes no sense. I'd rather talk about MLB spring training and the NFL draft than talk about this nonsense. Well, then you're not a true sports fan. There's two different types of sports fans.
You don't talk
There's
about hockey. This doesn't mean you're not a true sports fan.
There's two. There are two different types of sports fans. There are sports fans type A. Well, this could happen, and I just love sports. I don't care. I like watching all different types of sports. Sports fan number two is they love all different types of sports, but they don't watch every game of that sport. They don't watch just because. There's sports fans of basketball, and then there's fans of us like Cavs fans who love the NBA, but when the Cavs are this shitty and the league is rigged, why do we watch? Folks, I'm sorry. The NBA is over. Whether you like it, unless you're a Warriors fan, if I feel bad, because now I know what it feels like. Now we know what it feels like. I'm telling you, Raptors fans, I feel sorry for you. Celtics fans, I feel sorry for you. Rockets fans, I feel sorry for you. Sixers fans, I feel sorry for you. Lakers fans, I feel sorry for you. All of the above, because the NBA season's over. I'm not talking about it. The end. If you want me to talk about hockey, I won't because I'm not an NHL fan. I don't like the game of hockey. You do. You can talk about hockey on your show. I'd rather talk about the UFC. I'd rather talk about a steroid junkie and John Jones potentially facing Brock Lesnar. Or I'd rather talk about some fake wrestling where Vince McMahon's in charge of the damn promotion rather than talking about the NBA. The end.
Bravo.
Was that good?
Yeah.
Was that harsh? I'm sorry.
It wasn't harsh enough. You faltered out. I mean, dude. And you wanted, I was gonna say this in the middle of it, but you were on a roll. Do you hear the report that that DeMarcus Cousins is thinking about signing a long-term extension with Golden State?
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with this stupid ring? How is that even possible? That's not even financially possible.
He's going to take a pay cut.
No. Oh, my God. They don't have money.
I know.
They don't have money. Their money is gone. They don't have a bench. They have Boogie, KD, Steph, Andre Iguodala, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Maybe that's all they need. Maybe you just turn fatigue off. Let's go into NBA 2K right now. Turn off fatigue. You're not beating that freaking team. You ain't beating them even with fatigue out. You can't guard them. It's complete bullshit. I hate this league.
Oh, and even better, they're going to try to trade for Anthony Davis at the deadline.
Folks, what did I say at the end of June? This is the NWA now, the National Warriors Association. I also call it the National Women's Association because they're not tough at all. Ow, my pinky hurt. I had to sit out a month. Ow, I hit my back on the floor. Let me lay down for 10 minutes and pretend like my back is broken. And then I'll get up and sit on the bench, ice my back. Meanwhile, 53 and above players every Sunday are getting hit in car accidents 50 times a game.
Yep. Yeah, it's becoming a soft league. And then there's guys like fucking Karl Anthony Towns, guy who has potential to be probably the greatest center of this generation. What would he rather do? Cry on Twitter and play Fortnite. What the hell is happening? Like, dude, Willis Reed in, 1972, 1973? Like, he broke his arm or something. I don't know. It was something. It was like a major injury. This motherfucker comes off of the bench, shoots his 2 free throws to ice the game, goes back into the locker room and fucking gets treatment on it. Meanwhile, the Knicks just won the finals. That's never gonna happen again. There's gonna be a guy who's gonna be like, I got a hangnail and now my finger feels funny. Like, that's gonna happen, and it's gonna be like, what? Like, dude, this is Game 7 in the NBA Finals. You're crying because you got a hangnail? And like you said, meanwhile, there's guys in the NFL who are getting into 50 car accidents a game over the course of 3 hours, you know? And and look at hockey too. There's guys getting slammed against the boards. They're getting laid out in the middle of the ice. The goalies are having pucks being shot at them, or God knows how hard. And they're tough. I mean, there's people. Alex Ovechkin. Have you ever seen Alexander Ovechkin smile?
I've never seen any hockey player smile besides when they held up the Stanley Cup.
Alex Ovechkin has like no teeth in the front, and they always ask him. They're like, you ever gonna get those fixed? He's like, why should I get them fixed when I'm playing? I'll just get knocked out again. It's like we need that mentality in the NBA, and it sucks. Where are the days when Rasheed Wallace was like threatening to kill a referee's family because he called a foul on him? Those days are gone. That's what made the NBA great.
Right. All right. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave it there. We are going to take about a 8 to 9 minute break. We're going to come back at the bottom of the hour. You are going to do our viewers a favor because I didn't really watch this event, and I know you want to talk about this. We're going to go ahead and review UFC 232. I heard it was a great show. You can inform me about the show, and then we are going to dive into a wild card NFL picks. We're also going to pick the national championship game as a bonus pick, potentially if we disagree, which I think we will on this game. But by the way, for the people at home, in case you're wondering, I will announce this when we come back. The pick standings for the regular season. And spoiler alert here, Andrew is down to me in the standings. How much is he down? What does he need to do to win the pick segment this season? If you've been watching the No Holds Barred podcast, you know our pick segments every week can be some controversial. We agree on most picks. We disagree on some. We'll go over it all. We'll go over UFC 232. When we come back, this is our final break of the show. It's our second break. We'll be back at 11:30, bottom of the hour, UFC 232 review. NFL wildcard predictions on this breaking news Wednesday, 1/2/2019. We're going to take this 5 to 8 minutes. We're going to decompress ourselves, and we are going to leave you with these moments of silence for the great Gene Okerlund, who died today in wrestling at the age of 76. Thank you. We'll be back at 11:30. All right, guys, bottom of hour 2 here. This is Brandon's World live on YouTube here. I'm with Andrew Baca, the host of the Andrew Baca Podcast. Andrew, welcome back. How was your break?
Not bad. Got some more needed water.
That's why we took that long of a break. Anyways, we have about 20 to 25 minutes back here, and I'm glad you got some water because you're going to need to be doing a little bit talking here for me and for the viewers. So, UFC 232 was this past Saturday. I did not watch. I know you watched. Just kind of give a brief rundown of the event and your thoughts, how good were the fights, etc.
Well, I missed the first two because I couldn't find the right stream, and but oh wait, hold on, let me look at the card again because I watched it in the middle of one fight, and then I saw the women's fight. Hold on, UFC 232. The fight that I watched wasn't really that good. All right, okay, yeah. All right, so I saw the majority of it. The first fight I saw was Corey Anderson versus I can't even pronounce that name, but Corey Anderson won, and it was okay. It was a little uneventful, but the next one, Michael Chiesa versus Carlos Condit, was pretty good. Chiesa got him to tap in the second round, and that again, it was okay. The first couple fights were not bad. The women's fight, believe it or not, was probably the best fight because it was Amanda Nunes versus Chris Cyborg, and I think how long did it run? It lasted 51 seconds. Nunes beat the living shit out of Chris Cyborg. Chris Cyborg got like probably one punch in that actually landed. It was brutal. But it just shows why Amanda Nunes ends careers, and then the John Jones fight was really good. Yeah, that fight was really good. Gustafsson got knocked out in the third round. So yeah, the last two fights were really good. It was a good show overall. It was at the Forum in LA, and that wasn't really a good crowd in my opinion. I think the UFC does a lot better when they go out east and towards the Midwest. They're just I don't know. The West Coast crowds aren't that good. But Joe Rogan lost his shit as usual, which I love hearing. I love watching that dude. But yeah, it was a good fight, and I really hope to God that John Jones wasn't on anything. He fought like he wasn't on anything though because it lasted 3 rounds. So.
What do you think is next for John Jones?
I think he's going to get a title fight because he won the title with that, and it's either going to be probably against Lesnar because that's what Dana White wants, and it's all that bullshit. But Stipe Miocic was going on Twitter and talking shit, saying that he could beat John Jones, which I love Stipe Miocic, but I don't think that can happen.
Well, Dana White was undisputed a couple weeks ago. He said he would love to see John Jones move up to the heavyweight division because he's beaten everybody in the light heavyweight.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen, and I think that's why Stipe Miocic was talking shit on Twitter. Because when you got a new guy coming in, he's considered fresh meat. John Jones doesn't belong in the light heavyweight anymore. He's absolutely should be in the heavyweight, and that changes a lot because he's super athletic. Even without the steroids, he's still really athletic. Like this guy can do, as in the video game, he can do Superman punches, all these flying kicks and everything like that.
I call him
King
Kong of the UFC.
Yeah,
this guy is a 6'8" freak of nature. He could be the LeBron of the UFC.
I wouldn't say he's the LeBron. I think he's the Josh Gordon of UFC.
In terms of physical size and accomplishment, because Josh Gordon didn't really accomplish anything.
Well, he became the first receiver to have back-to-back 200-yard games, and he took that catch in for 95.
But again, one season. John Jones has done this for a long time.
Yeah.
John Jones, as you know by our commentary, which we need to do this. I will promise our reviewers other on my gaming channel, we need to commentate a UFC us going at it.
Okay.
Because
Wow.
especially if you're John Jones and everybody knows how I freak out. No. That was fun.
We'll keep Joe Rogan on to be like the third guy.
For those of you that don't know, we do this thing. It's called the John Jones Gauntlet, where I try and defeat John Jones. And by about the 10th fight, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Because the guy in the video game, he just is he's Superman punches from like one side of the octagon to the other. He's like Roman Reigns, but with a stronger Superman punch.
Yeah, it's because he's on the cover too. Like that wouldn't happen if we got UFC 3.
Punch.
But then we do this on UFC 1.
Done.
So I don't know. I've been thinking. I played UFC 2 and the game was awful. Like it was a lot harder than.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, UFC 1. So I'd have some cold feet obviously with UFC 3, but I keep hearing it's good. And every time there's a UFC fight, during the fight they have a promotion that you can get. I think it's the deluxe. It's the deluxe game where it's like a deluxe game where you can get it for like $25 or something as opposed to like $50 or something. I don't know, but next UFC fight I'll probably buy it.
All right. Well, again, if the UFC fight is John Jones versus Brock Lesnar, me and you both know we'll be watching that together because it will be hilarious.
Oh, I will be, and we should probably record ourselves during that fight and upload it to YouTube, because if Brock Lesnar wins while he's like in WWE and he's a champion in WWE, I will be so pissed off. It'll be so funny, but like it'll be genuine anger. Like I will, like you'll hear me probably say, "God damn it, this is our escape from that scripted bullshit," and here comes this fight. It's gonna involve stuff like that.
And you will hear me the whole time going, "And Brock Lesnar, the Universal Champion, what a right!" All right. With that being said, we have about 10 minutes left. I want to wrap this up between 11:45 and 11:50 today. I want to thank you for being here because it's been a long 2 hours, but it's been a fun show.
Yeah, I agree. I had a lot of fun.
With that being said, though, folks, we need to get to our NFL picks for the NFL Wild Card Weekend. So, with that being said, last week I went 12-4 in the picks. You went 10-6. Remember, I changed my pick before the Sunday night game. I originally picked the Titans beat the Colts. I texted you early Sunday morning. I said, no Mariota, I'm taking the Colts. I think I made the right decision there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we disagreed on the Bears-Vikings game, and we disagreed on the Panthers-Saints game. You took Teddy Bridgewater. I ended up taking the Panthers. I was right on that. We also had a bonus pick for the spread between Alabama and Oklahoma. And for a long time, you were right on that because you said Alabama was going to win by more than 14. You were right on that for a long time. It ended up being an 11-point victory, which means I technically won. So, even though Alabama beat their ass, it was only an 11-point win, which means I get the pick. And that means you are officially 146-110. And I'm 159-97. But if you add the 5 bonus points that you are up, you are, let's see, 151, 161. No, 153 to 161. You are 8 games back of me.
Wow.
Yeah, that is correct. You are 8 games back of me in the picks. And there are 11 games left in the season.
Oh, boy.
So, we do have a bonus pick this week, which would be the national championship. And if we both agree on the pick, then we'll do the spread. And if we agree on that, we'll come up with another tiebreaker.
Okay.
So Wild Card Weekend, we'll do these games in order of when they come. So Colts Texans. This game was a Saturday afternoon game at 4:35. Called by Joe Tessitore, Jason Witten, and Booger McFarland.
Oh boy.
You're on ESPN.
How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet that Jason Witten is going to call Andrew Luck Peyton Manning?
I will not be willing to bet that. He's not that dumb.
Great throw here by Peyton Manning to hit Marvin Harrison over the middle. Jason, that's T.Y. Hilton.
Anyways, look, I know the Colts beat them bad in Houston, but if the Colts went for the tie in Week 4 instead of going for the win and loss, this game would have been in Indy, which is really interesting. Look, if you remember back in Week 1 when we made the picks, I said Bill O'Brien was going to be the coach of the year. I really liked Houston's roster. I thought Houston was going to be a great team this year. I think Frank Reich has done a great job with the Colts. To me, this is more of a pick-em game than people realize. I think the difference in this game will be the offensive lines. And I think that the Colts offensive line is going to hold up a little bit more. I think Andrew Luck is playing so well right now. I think Frank Reich is going to have these guys more prepared than Bill O'Brien. I think it's going to be really close. I'm going to say Adam Vinatieri gets a game-winning field goal as time expires. And the Colts will be going to Kansas City.
Yeah, I got the Colts too, and the reason why I say that is because the Texans are starting to kind of slow down from that winning streak that they had, and I think the loss against Philadelphia kind of proved that.
See, though, that was a really close
game. Guys. I'm not taking anything away from you guys, but Nick Foles, I know that he's got the hot hand, but the Texans, in my opinion, have a better team than you guys do, just because of injuries, and they still lost. I mean, that's a little concerning.
I get your point. All right, next game. We have the Seahawks and the Cowboys in Dallas. This is the Saturday night game on Fox, called by Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Aaron Andrews. Welcome to football. Whoop-de-doo.
Hi.
The Dallas Cowboys are playing
Super Bowl champion quarterback Aikman. He's going to be calling the WWE SmackDown next October. 5 seconds of dead air. That was a joke if you didn't get it. I'll never forget that. I was just watching that. My jaw was dropped, and I think I just muttered with my mouth open. What the fuck? Like,
what an asshole. By the way, if you were watching the Bears-Vikings game in between commercial of the Browns game, Joe Buck made one of the funniest calls just because it was Joe Buck and it was so bad. He's just like, here's Cohen. Nothing. Like they hand it off to him, he's just like, here's Cohen. Nothing. It's like Jesus Christ.
Wow. I'm angry. I had to trek my way to Minnesota, Joe Buck.
Oh, I know. Anyways, as much as I hate to say this, I'm going to be objective here. Believe it or not, I am taking my rival. I am taking the Dallas Cowboys to win at home. I think Seattle, they're a good team. They're a good running team. I just don't trust them. For some reason, I have a feeling about this Cowboys team that they're going to win this game. I don't know. I just do.
Yeah, I got a feeling they will. I think they're going to come prepared. And Seattle's just not there yet. They've retooled. They've done the right things, and they, like Kyle Hurts said, they got rid of the quote unquote noisy players, and they're kind of letting Russell Wilson be the leader of that team again. They still need to add a few more pieces, then they can be really good again, but they're just not there yet. So, I mean, yeah, this is a glimmer of hope, but they're not going to go far at all. They're going to lose, in my opinion.
Okay. Now, this is the 1 o'clock game on CBS on Sunday, called by Tony Romo.
Mm-hmm.
Between the Chargers and the Ravens in Baltimore. Now, everybody's been making the point the last couple of weeks that it's hard to lose to a team twice in 3 weeks. I saw my Eagles get blown out 2 weeks in a row in Dallas in 2009 by Tony Romo, and they put up 50 points on us in both games.
Ooh.
2 weeks in a row. Week 17, 2009, and then the wild card game, Donovan McNabb's last game as an Eagle. I believe, in my opinion, that the Chargers got a bad spot. The scheduling. They are a West Coast team coming to the East Coast on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock to play a very hard team to defend. Play a very good defense and a very hard offense to defend, which, by the way, that Lamar Jackson offense is harder to defend right now than people realize. They'll get film on him next year. It'll be easier for them to stop, but right now it's hard for them to stop. I think the Chargers have a great roster. I think they have a great coach. The problem with the Chargers is I don't trust Phil Rivers, and like I said, I'm going to check the weather report for both Baltimore and Chicago because the Dallas and Houston games don't matter because they're in domes. I want to check the weather report, weather in Baltimore, Maryland for the Ravens game. On Sunday, it's going to be 53 and sunny. So that's good news for the Chargers, actually. But it doesn't change my mind, the fact that it's still going to be cold for the Chargers' liking. I know they're used to being on the road because they basically play 16 road games, but they're still playing a very hard opponent, and I think the Ravens will be gamed at home. I don't trust Philip Rivers. I'm sorry, Philip. Another first-round exit for you.
I disagree. I really think that I think they're going to win. It's going to be an ugly game. It's going to go down to the end. But I think Philip Rivers is on a mission. I just do. I think he knows that this is it. That this is it for him to at least get far in the playoffs and prove that, hey, I at least deserve to get into the Hall of Fame at some point. He's not going to be a first ballot, but I think he should probably get in the Hall of Fame. And I've said this before that Philip Rivers is a lot. He's like the Bernie Kosar of our generation, where he's good, he has the potential, he just never got over the hump. Whether it was because Marty Schottenheimer kept blowing games when his tenure was there, whether their ownership got in the way and couldn't hire the right coaches, or whether they got too cheap and got rid of their good players like guys like LaDainian Tomlinson and other players like that were detrimental to their runs, and also moving the team. We know Bernie Kosar wasn't part of the move, but moving a team is got to be hard. People don't realize that Philip Rivers drives to LA every day. Because he's still got a family and a house and everything in San Diego. That's where he's settled. So
him and his poor 9 kids, and he didn't want to change his debt. Which, by the way, is funny. Can I tell you a quick story, really quick?
Sure.
So Cowherd goes, Joy, I have a dentist appointment today after the show, and she goes, you have a dentist appointment on New Year's Day? Why didn't you just cancel it? And he goes, because I hate my mouth getting worked on, and I never cancel a dentist appointment because you can't get in for the next year. And she goes, well, I cancel my dentist appointments all the time. And he goes, oh, so you're like, and then he gets into some analogy about somebody who just cancels and then reschedules and doesn't worry about appointments. He goes, I like my teeth clean. I'll be at the dentist. Before I went to Ohio State, run over in the Rose Bowl.
I'm surprised you didn't say, getting your teeth pulled is a lot like my divorce. You just got to yank it out.
Anyways, my point on that was Philip Rivers didn't want to change his kid's dentist or doctor. It's understood.
Yeah, I think he should just. I think at this point you got to break out the latex. But yeah, I think Philip Rivers is determined to prove that he has a spot in Canton. Although it's not going to be early, but I think if the Browns never moved, Bernie Kosar would have his number retired by the Browns, and I think Bernie Kosar might have a case for the Hall of Fame. It just never happened though. But I think even though Philip Rivers is this generation's Bernie Kosar, I think he's gonna go far in these playoffs. I just have a feeling. I might be wrong, But I don't know. Something just seems different.
I want to see Philip Rivers get pissed about something. It's my favorite thing to watch. Is Philip Rivers getting pissed?
And you know he's like such a like conservative Christian moral guy that you know he's probably not saying like straight up swear words. Like he's probably going like, gosh darn it, this is my it's like that's probably what he's doing, and it's gotta be so funny. I often wonder if the Chargers offensive linemen just do false starts just to hear him get angry.
Because he's probably got to be so funny. No. I haven't won a Super Bowl yet. I'm better than Eli Manning. God damn it!
Can you imagine Can you imagine the Chargers center just going like this to the right guard? Hey, watch this. Whoop! I moved. No, fuck it! God damn it! Shit! Oh,
yeah. All right, we got 10 minutes left in the show, so I want to wrap up here with these last two picks.
Okay.
First one is Eagles Bears in Chicago Sunday afternoon. I'll be making my preview tomorrow sometime over on Facebook Live. My Philadelphia Eagles will win this game. They will beat the Chicago Bears. I don't trust Mitch Trubisky or an experienced football team. Old St. Nick is going to do it again. We're putting on the underdog mask again, or at least we should, because the ESPN ranked us the worst playoff team in the NFL, which we're not, by the way. The Eagles have a magical ride in them again. I just feel it. There's something in the air, man, and I know you're going to pick Chicago, and that makes me feel good.
Yeah, well, you're right. I am going to pick Chicago because I don't know. You guys are injured, and Khalil Mack I think is going to be feasting off you guys, and the Bears, they have one of the best defense. They have probably the best defense in the NFC for a reason. I don't know, and it's just Chicago's cold. It's going to be cold there, probably.
It's going to be 40 degrees. It is going to be officially 42 degrees at kickoff.
That's bullshit. I hate this. I hate El Niños. It's not right for this time of year.
It is right.
No, it's not. It was not right having a 61-degree day on New Year's Eve.
Yes, it was.
No. The only good thing that can come out of these unseasonably warm days is that we might have a potential blizzard on the way. But that doesn't seem to be happening anymore. But it's okay. Not really. But, yeah, I don't know. I think Chicago's going to beat. I think they're going to beat you guys. And that home field advantage, too. The Bears fans have been waiting a while for a meaningful playoff game. At home, too.
I've been waiting a while to watch Mitch Trubisky throw another interception at home.
Mitch Trubisky? Yeah.
I think that this game's going to be really interesting because Trey Burton's coming back to play the Eagles. Kyle and Chris Long, brothers going up against each other. Matt Nagy and Doug Peterson know each other from Kansas City. There's a lot of similarities here. I think it's interesting, too, because Chicago basically had to pick their opponent. They chose to play us instead of the Vikings. So, if we win, which I think we will, shame on Chicago because you could have beat the shit out on the Vikings.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know. It is gonna be interesting though, seeing Doug Peterson go up against Matt Nagy. I will be looking forward to that.
As will the nation. All right, we have about 5 minutes or so left. Let's talk about the national championship game Monday night. Alabama Clemson. You are going to be shocked by this because you know how big of a fan of Alabama I am. I'm taking Dabo. Give me Dabo Sweeney and Kelly Lawrence over to
It's Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
I'm taking Clemson too. Because
you are.
Yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. Something about Clemson this year just seems different. And like Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion, he's only a freshman. And I think he's going to have a really great year next year too. I'm talking if this dude declares for the draft in 2020, he's going to be the number one pick, or at least the first quarterback taken off the board. I really like this guy, so
All right,
I'm
what's going to be our bonus pick then? Because we got to find something. I mean, I guess we disagree on 2 games, but I would like a bonus pick just to help you out if you win.
What's the spread?
Well, the spread doesn't matter because we all took Clemson. But the spread is Bama -6. All right, we'll do this. We'll do the score of the game, and whoever's closer gets the pick.
Ooh, okay.
So we'll do. What do you want to do? Do you want to do margin of victory, or do you want to do overall score?
Do overall.
Okay. What do you think the score is going to be?
I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go with 34-30.
Okay. I'm going to be a point off. I'll give you 34-31.
Okay.
So I think that's fair. So the way we're going to score this is, if Clemson wins, we're both not going to get a pick. But if they win by 4 or more, I'll give you the pick.
All right.
3 or less, I'll give me the pick.
All right, that's fair. Yep.
Okay. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this up. This has been Brandon's World on this Wednesday, January 2nd, 2019. Next week, I'm going to try to be live one day out of the week to kind of recap before we get on air. BSR going home next Sunday. So, we got a couple more shows in this before I go back to Kent State. Thank you for joining me today, Andrew. It was a fun show. I love listening to your podcast. I love having these kind of shows with you. Really fun today.
Thanks. I had fun.
No doubt about it. Make sure you go check out our No Holds Barred podcast. That link is in the description below, also on the channel. By the way, just a quick note, I changed the title of this playlist instead of just shows. They're now called YouTube exclusive shows because I'm going to be trying to do a simulcast this semester where we simulcast the radio show live on Buck Show Radio and on YouTube. Just in case if you guys missed the show on BSR, you can come back here on YouTube and see what I said. That way we can recap my old takes and stuff like that.
Smart.
I think that would be a lot of fun. With that being said, do you want to shout out your podcast real quick?
Yeah, it's on iTunes, Google Play, and the YouTube channel, obviously. It's going to be a lot more in 2019, so looking forward to that. I don't know. Other than that, that's all I got to say.
All right, Andrew, thank you for joining us. Go have lunch. Go have fun today, people. Thank you for listening to us. Go check out the Art with Colin Coward. It comes out in 3 minutes. So thank you very much for listening to us today. This is Brandon's World live from Cleveland, Ohio. This is Brandon Lewis, host of Brandon's World on BuckShowRadio.com. I am here with Andrew Baca, the host of the Andrew Baca Podcast. This was a very fun show. I appreciate y'all for joining us. We had a lot of great discussion, and we will see you all next time.